Medical story, Healing Hearts. Dr. Elijah Okafor, 35, tall and with a serious expression, is known for his incredible surgical skill and relentless commitment to saving lives. Beside him is Nurse Layla Adekono, 30, a quick-witted, passionate nurse known for her warm smile and practical approach to care. Layla is a people person, trusted and adored by her colleagues, patients, and families alike. While they work well enough together, there is an undercurrent of tension. Layla thinks Dr. Okafor is uptight, rigid, and a bit to by the book. One evening, a young boy, around 5, is rushed into the emergency room after a car accident. He's in critical condition, and every second matters. Layla is the first responder, doing her best to stabilize the child while they wait for Dr. Okafor to take over. Dr. Okafor arrives, and Layla immediately starts briefing him, but he cuts her off, insisting on rechecking her work and going through the protocols she's already completed. Layla's irritation grows as precious time ticks by, and when she suggests he should start surgery, he dismisses her suggestion, focusing on a minute detail instead. Dr. Okafor, she says sharply, unable to hold back her frustration. He's losing blood fast. We don't have time for this. Without looking up, Dr. Okafor replies, we do things right, or we don't do them at all. Layla's jaw tightens, but she doesn't argue, however. As the operation continues, she makes quick, intuitive decisions that keep the boy stable. Her actions make the difference, but Dr. Okafor, instead of acknowledging her help, reprimands her for stepping out of line once the boy is in recovery. They're left staring at each other, both angry, both exasperated, and both convinced they're right. Days pass, and the friction only intensifies. Every time they're on shift together, there's a palpable tension. Their colleagues begin to notice, and it doesn't help that patients sometimes prefer Layla's compassionate, one-touch over Dr. Okafor's reserved, professional manner. Despite their differences, something begins to shift when a series of difficult cases come in one after another, each demanding precision and teamwork. Dr. Okafor sees Layla's dedication, her unique way of calming patients, and her skill under pressure, while he sees her as impulsive and lacking the caution he deems necessary. One evening, when the hospital is quiet, they find themselves alone in the break room. Layla is flipping through her notes, and Dr. Okafor walks in exhausted. They share an awkward silence before he surprises her. About that surgery, he starts, struggling with his words. You kept him stable? I didn't expect that level of control under pressure. Layla's surprised. She nods, still frustrated, but appreciative of the acknowledgement. Thanks, Dr. Okafor, she says, her voice softer than usual. But I didn't do it for you. He chuckles, something Layla has never seen him do, and for the first time, they share a moment that feels less like work and more like understanding. Things are almost peaceful between them. But then, during another emergency, things spiral. A young pregnant woman is brought in with a complicated case that needs immediate surgery. As the team prepares, Layla suggests a less traditional approach based on her previous experiences. Dr. Okafor dismisses her idea. Tension mounts as the patient's condition worsens, and Layla, fearing for the patient's life, decides to step in against Dr. Okafor's orders, administering medication she believes will help stabilize her. Her decision is risky but ultimately saves the woman's life. After the patient is stable, Dr. Okafor pulls Layla aside, his voice low and controlled. What you did was reckless and could have ended disastrously. Layla fires back. If I hadn't, she might have died. You need to understand that sometimes intuition is as important as precision. They stand inches apart, the heat between them palpable. But this time it's more than anger. But neither is willing to let down their guard. Tensions reach a breaking point when Dr. Okafor is assigned to head a new research program. There's a flicker of something else. He'll need to leave the hospital for a 6-month stint overseas. This is a golden opportunity. and Layla tries to feel happy for him but can't help feeling a pang of something she doesn't want to name. Before he leaves, she runs into him in the hallway late one night, her usual confidence absent. She wants to say something but struggles. "Elijah," she says softly, using his first name for the first time. "Don't forget us here while you're off becoming the world's best surgeon." He looks at her, his usual guarded expression softened. "And don't get too used to running the place without me," he replies, a half smile on his lips. There's a lingering silence, and he reaches out, taking her hand for just a moment before walking away. It's a small gesture, but it changes everything. When he returns 6 months later, Dr. Okafor is different, more open, more willing to trust, and ready to meet Layla halfway. Layla, too, has changed. She's learned to blend intuition with caution, gaining a reputation as both compassionate and highly skilled. Their first day back working together is filled with knowing glances and hidden smiles. A few weeks later, after a particularly intense shift, he finds her on the hospital rooftop, where she's gone to unwind. They sit in silence, watching the city lights below. "I miss this," he says finally. And she knows he's not just talking about the hospital. She turns to him, her eyes reflecting the night sky, each feeling a mix of relief and anticipation. Without another word, he leans in, and they share a kiss filled with all the emotions they held back. The walls they'd built around themselves finally fall, replaced by a partnership forged in trust, respect, and something much deeper than they'd ever imagined.